Dude,
What?
whoa, it's JRPG news once again.
Yeah!
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hey, 2 weeks in a row, we can do it.
We're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it. It's me, it's Mel. This is our weekly news show, and here's my co-host Zoltan. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. So we got a couple news stories for you. Still a little slow, but more than last week, I think.
Yeah, I got some fun stuff, yo.
Yeah, so I'm going to start us off with one that is, well, you know what? I'll start us with some of the really insubstantial ones. We'll work our way up to the more
Dramatic ones, yeah.
substantial ones.
Okay.
So to start us off, Final Fantasy 16, as we mentioned before, is further along in development than it may have been assumed at first.
Yes.
So they're actually kind of coming out and confirming that, and they're putting out postings for like final touch-up, like cutscene animators and artists and other things. So the game is quite well along in development. So a 2021 release would not surprise me, barring any major reasons for delay.
Yeah. That's good news.
I think it's good news compared to what they their turnaround is normally at that company whenever they announce something.
Yeah.
So something I thought was funny when looking through the story in Gametsu, they were they cross-linked to another article they had written where the developer had mentioned like, oh well, we want to get like more information and solid gameplay footage out there quickly, because if we just have like a pre-produced cutscene that's not in-game footage, then everyone's just going to say, see you in 2035, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've heard a lot of comments like that out of America. I'm like, well, I guess only America? Japan's more patient, I guess.
I guess so. Oh, that's interesting.
It was kind of funny. I was like, I guess everyone in Japan is just like, yes, solemnly nodding. Yes, we will wait. Patient.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. Maybe we're just louder. Maybe they also think it, but they just don't bother to post it because they know it's a waste of time.
I think Americans are very obnoxious. I know I am.
Oh, yeah, me too. The worst.
Yeah. So I'll hand it off to you. What you got next?
Okay. I got some bad news, guys.
Uh-oh.
The game Indivisible, I'm only just finding this out now. Apparently, the company that made it, Zero Lab Games, has been completely destroyed, dissolved by the publisher. Now, for those who don't know, Indivisible is a game that was made by the same team that made the fighting game Skullgirls. And this is a game that was inspired by the battle system, and I guess also the exploration as well, of Valkyrie Profile. So run across on a 2D, completely 2D plane. Not even an isometric thing like Chrono Trigger, just fully 2D, left and right like Mario. And then when you get into battle, you have 4 characters, and each one is just assigned to a face button. You press the buttons, they all just attack. It's really, really fun. And Indivisible is the same way. I don't know what the main differences are between the two, but it was inspired by Valkyrie Profile, and that I would like to think that means it's a good game. Unfortunately, apparently, freaking all the staff were laid off. First, all the senior staff were laid off. Then all the regular staff were laid off. And now the game is completely... the development company, has been completely dissolved. And the news that results from that is that all the remaining updates that were planned for Indivisible have all been canceled. So...
Wow.
Yeah. So... And I looked into this morning. I'm like, wow, I didn't hear about this because I thought they were doing well. And I'm still not even sure that money was really even a reason. Apparently, the reason that the senior staff were laid off at least, was because one of the main senior staff guys, he's been accused of having inappropriate remarks with women. And I looked at what he said, and one girl who was a streamer, she said she posted like screenshots of her conversation, and yeah, it looked like to me that he was like trying to get with her, and so making sexual remarks and saying, "Hey, I bet you like being watched, or you feel validated when people watch you, or something like that." So then she one day went on Twitter or something and said, "Yeah, I feel bad. I don't want to play Skullgirls anymore because of one of the guys on the team." So that became news. Another person said, "Yeah, he's been saying stuff like that to me in real life," but she didn't have any proof. She just said that it happened. And then the last straw, apparently, the final straw was when he made a joke about a high-profile police brutality issue. A guy got killed by a cop, and he made a joke about that guy's death scene. Obviously not a very kind thing to do.
Ooh,
yeah.
Not a thing that I would do if I were an executive or a major figurehead at any company.
Yeah,
if I had that opinion, I would not voice it. I wouldn't have that opinion, let's be clear. But also, if I did, I'd be more intelligent to just go out on public social media and be like, "Hey, here's me. Hope nothing bad happens."
In the case of the racial comment, if you can call it that, the one about the guy who got killed by a police officer, it was just a live comment during a Skullgirls tournament. And you can hear, when I watched the video, you could hear the long, uncomfortable silence. Nobody had anything to say after that for a while.
No.
The action still continues. They're playing the game, but nobody said anything for a while. So anyway, I couldn't find any talk about, they weren't selling enough, so the company had to be dissolved. I just heard, he was being shunned by the community, and then after that, all the senior staff were fired, and then after that, all the regular staff were fired, and now Indivisible is not going to be updated. So the last thing you can expect, it's a sad story. So the last thing you could expect as an update is in 2 days from the time of us recording this, anyway, on October 13th, the Switch version will get an update so that it's the same as like the PS4 version and stuff. But after that, there were some planned additional characters not coming. And physical rewards, physical rewards are expected to still happen though. The ones that people are still waiting for, because this was a kickstarted game, so they had reward tiers and stuff. So, that's that.
Wow, yeah, that's
it's a bummer.
That's really intense.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't expect to find all that from that one story.
No, that kind of went places. I wonder. I get the impression this story is not done developing. We'll probably hear more, because this seems like a real extreme measure. Get rid of the problem people, and then the rest of the developers can finish fulfilling the game. I don't know.
Yeah,
it sounds wild.
Yeah, it should be that if that was the reason to get rid of someone, then they should have just got rid of him, right? I don't get it. It could just be poor research on my part that I couldn't find it, but I wasn't seeing anything.
Or maybe they're covering for another reason, but it seems like in my experience, I've never read of a case where a game in development is just like, sorry, we're done now. I know, and it's been kickstarted or not. Hey, we had X, Y, and Z planned out, all canceled.
Has that really not happened?
All canceled because the entire studio disappeared?
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't know that I've ever read a story like that. Maybe canceled because, we're working on something else and we couldn't, blah, blah, blah.
Or they took 5 years they've already spent 5 years delivering what they have delivered, and they're like, we're going to stop now, kind of thing.
Yeah, a cataclysmic financial failure is the closest, and that would be the guys who made...
Let's remember the game.
What's the name of that game? Let's play that game.
I think I know.
That game.
The one by the baseball player?
Yes.
Kingdoms of Amalur.
There it is.
Yeah.
So that had more planned and other games planned, not just that.
Yes.
So it's the only comparable experience that I can think of where a game in development, in production, with content on the way just got axed. Pretty crazy. I don't know what 505 Games is up to there, so I'm sure we'll find out.
I didn't know. So does that mean that 505 Games owned the studio? Is that what that means? Because you can't,
That's a good question,
as a publisher, just dissolve another studio, right? So
unless they got the rights sold to them, yeah. Unless they bought the developer,
probably they were. Yeah, maybe, I'm not sure.
That's kind of crazy.
They were a different name when they made Skullgirls, and then after that, they changed their name, or maybe just certain members of that team separated to make this other Zero Lab Games studio, and then they made Indivisible. So that's the only game that they've made was Indivisible as Zero Lab Studios. Zero Lab Games, I mean.
Yeah.
So that's that, though.
You know,
crazy story.
That's unfortunate for a game like this. It looked really promising and like a real fan favorite type of thing. I heard a lot of good stuff about this game.
Yeah, no, I think it's still I think it's basically a complete game. I don't think you need to worry about that.
No,
I think if we played
if you were a backer,
yeah, that sucks. Yeah, definitely.
You put money into this expecting certain things.
Totally.
My general rule of thumb is I think that's a foolish idea to do anyhow. If you like a game, wait until it's done and then buy it. Or if you really care enough, back it enough to get a copy, but don't get the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
Like those will never come through. There's so many stories about them. Oh, sorry, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Forget that. Well, that's a bummer.
Don't worry, I got happier news later.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll move on to a promising news ?
Okay.
There's a tweet by one of the creators and developers of Skies of Arcadia.
Whoa!
Which is coming up on its 20th year anniversary.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Fuck.
You're old, Mel. That's your game, right? You're old. The age of that game
20 years.
Yeah, shows everyone how old you are and nobody else is. Just you.
Yes. Yep, just me. So yeah, he tweeted out saying, "Hey, basically, he tweeted out saying
this is the original. What person? Sorry,
developer for Skies of Arcadia, a guy who used to work for Sega. He is currently working with the Sega on other projects.
Okay,
but the original studio that made Skies of Arcadia, that went away a long, long time ago. But a lot of the people still stuck around. A lot of the original creators are still out there making games, either for Sega or other companies. And there have been, bubbles and rumors of people saying, "Hey, we want to make another one of these." And of course, whenever you say that on the internet, everyone goes apeshit.
Yes,
because it really is like one of those much beloved games. There's no one who has a bad thing to say. Either they never played it, or maybe they didn't care.
Yeah,
and they have nothing to say.
Yeah, nobody thinks it's a terrible game at all, right?
No one's like, "Oh, fuck that." It's not like Skyrim where everyone played that game and some people have bad things to say.
Yeah.
When a lot of people have great things to say, but it's just like a game that everyone who talks about it, who is vocal, has overwhelmingly positive things to say.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to that game.
Yeah, I think so. He was talking maybe an HD remaster.
Yeah,
I don't know if a sequel's in the works. I'll take whatever they can do. Honestly, at this point, I would be willing to support financially whatever they do. I hope it's not a goddamn Kickstarter, but
right.
I will if they're gonna re-release it as Skies of Arcadia HD remaster. Here it is with whatever they do with it. Personally, I would prefer if they just kind of make another game in that series. Do whatever they think they can to do that, because I feel like I have been playing an HD remaster of this game for years now on the Dolphin emulator.
Oh,
because that's in high definition. I mean, all the assets are exactly the same, but they look way better. They're way sharper, and you can mod the game a bit to make it look a little bit nicer on top of that. And
wow.
I've done that by now. It's nothing remarkable, but it looks way cleaner and crisper than it does than it did ever on the GameCube, certainly on the Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a couple performance tweaks here and there that you can also apply. But yeah, I mean, I'll definitely play it. But at this point, I think I would want, maybe if they're going to remaster the game or remake it rather with like new assets but the same game, and if it were also turn-based, that might actually be my like.
It's
my
already
dream come
turn-based.
true.
Original is turn-based,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't want them
I
to change
have my
that.
doubts. Right. Well, I have my doubts. If they did go ahead and make the Skies of Arcadia 2, would it still be turn-based? I don't know.
That's a good question.
Don't know. I feel like turn-based games always kind of have to come with some kind of caveat, you know? Like, you get these, like, very deliberate throwback titles like Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
Which are, you know, billed as being an old school turn-based RPG. Or you get games like Final Fantasy VII that has, like, a turn-based system underneath the hood, in a way, because it's supposed to be a very faithful, in some regard, remake of a very popular game, so they can't go too far off the rails in certain ways.
Yeah.
But every other game that comes out, role-playing game from Japan-wise, they're moving away from that, you know, largely. I don't know how marketable a turn-based role-playing game is. We named the whole channel after it, but I still don't know how many of us are out there that would be capable of supporting it. I would think that if they had the courage to do it, it would sell.
Haven't we found out now that the upcoming Yakuza 7 is fully turn-based?
Yes.
Okay, so that might be a big thing to check to pay attention to.
If that sells, but again, that's like sort of almost like a gimmick game. Like it's a game. It's Yakuza by way of Dragon Quest, very much on purpose. Like it's in the name of the game. Like a Dragon is a reference to Dragon Quest.
No. That's not what it originally was.
Yeah, that's what it is intended to refer to. The Dragon.
I see the subtitle.
Dojima,
I see.
Yeah. Yes.
That's right.
The Dragon of Dojima is it's a double reference to that and a character in that series who, if I'm not mistaken, was called the Dragon of Dojima, and this is a character in that game, in that Like a Dragon game, who I think in some way idolizes him, and I don't know if you're trying to like meet him, or I don't know what the story is. But the dragon element of it is definitely, like, because it's turn-based, is trying to pay, like, a slight homage to... It's like Dragon Quest.
I see. Yeah, the original series in Japan, it's not called Yakuza, it's called Ryuga Gotoku, which means like a dragon. So it's actually always been called Like a Dragon.
Gotcha.
But this is the first time they decided to intentionally use it as the subtitle like that, at least in America.
Well, what are they calling it in Japan?
I'll check it out later. It's Ryuga Gotoku 7 or something, yeah. That's a good question.
All right.
I mean, because are they calling it Ryuga Gotoku 7, Ryuga Gotoku? Like, it's like a Dragon 7, like a dragon? Is that what they're calling it? That's a good point.
I know the Yakuza, the word refers to the Japanese mob, but... Does that word have a meaning that's translatable?
You mean Yakuza?
Yeah.
It probably does. I haven't ever seen it written or looked it up myself. But I mean, the game is obviously about Yakuza characters, a Yakuza story, but it's never been called that. It's always been called Ryuga Gotoku, which means like a dragon here in Japan.
So apparently Yakuza does have a rough translation of the extreme path.
The extreme
path.
Path.
Like,
the extreme path.
Yeah.
Yakuza.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole history there. I won't go into it right now.
Yeah.
But all right. So yeah, and there is a Japanese subtitle here for the well, I'm certainly not going to try and pronounce it, but I'll let you take a whack at it.
I found it. Here we go.
You found it.
In Japanese, I'm looking at Japanese Wikipedia over here. It's called Ryuga Gotoku 7. Oh, whoa! How do I read it, though? Here we go. Hikari to Yami no Yukue. Now, that means, like, the path of light and darkness in Japanese.
Whoa.
So, pretty different name. But it sounds like an RPG title.
That really does sound like an RPG title. That's funny.
The path of light and dark.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They really went for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that was the a little bit of Skies of Arcadia news there to fill your tummy. What's next?
Okay, I got some possibly excellent news for people like me anyway. Atelier Ryza 2, according to a tweet put out by Koei Tecmo America, is not going to be censored. Here is the exact quote from Koei Tecmo America's Twitter account. Message to fans. Despite the differences in Atelier Ryza 2 promotional videos recently shown at TGS, we want to assure fans that the game itself will not be censored in the West. We hope everyone is looking forward to the upcoming adventure. Now, you might not know what they're talking about, but they released the Atelier Ryza 2 Tokyo Game Show trailer that came out. There's the Japanese version and the English version. And if you just watch the English version, you'd never notice it. But if you watch them side by side, they have indeed censored out some like panty shots or whatever here and there in just the Western, in the English version. So everybody's worried, like, oh, great, this game's going to be censored. But they're saying it's not going to be censored. Now, it doesn't mean you can definitely breathe the sigh of relief because I believe Koei Tecmo also said, we're not going to censor the Fairy Tail RPG. Now, Fairy Tail RPG was based on the Fairy Tail anime, a famous one, which does have some degree of fan service, I am led to believe. And that game was censored in a day 1 or 2 patch that came out like a little bit after the release. And everybody was pissed. I don't remember if I reported that one on this show. But, so, lots of people are like, yeah, I don't know if I can believe them because they said they weren't going to censor Fairy Tail and then they did after the release. So, I hope it's not.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I just want to roll right quick back to the tweet I mentioned from, because you reading that one reminded me I didn't read the one from the Skies of Arcadia because there's a little interesting info in there.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is from Kenji Hiruta, and he says in his tweet, Happy 20th anniversary, Skies of Arcadia. I know that many of you guys want an HD remaster or a sequel,
yes.
But unfortunately, that depends on Sega, and I'm not working for, and he writes SOA, Skies of Arcadia related games. But, and this is confusing,
okay,
I've been working on something related to Skies of Arcadia.
Wait, what? He said
What?
he wasn't. Okay, so if it's related, yeah, whatever.
He hasn't been working on Skies of Arcadia related games, but he has been working on something Skies of Arcadia related.
Well, to be as detailed as possible, he said he wasn't working on a sequel or an HD remake, but he's working on something related to it.
Right.
He doesn't.
At the end, it says
he's working on something.
It may be a small change, but not zero. We are changing something.
What?
That's even more cryptic.
Yeah. Okay. Are you sure that this counts as news, Mel?
It certainly counts as confusing.
Yeah. Well, I hope.
I mean, he's acknowledging the anniversary and then saying that it's up to Sega if there is an HD remaster or sequel. That is the most concrete info we can get out of that tweet.
At least the opposite is not happening, which would be when freaking, I believe it's Namco Bandai or somebody actually. So it's like, sorry, there's no way we can make a freaking HD remaster of the Xenosaga trilogy. Damn it! So everybody was crushed.
This is not a refusal or like a tepid like, we'll see, or like, nope, not this is like, I really want it to happen, and maybe
it will. Yeah.
All right, so that was that. I just wanted to circle back on that.
Okay, cool.
I have only one little extra doodad at the end.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that first and let you finish off with your last story.
Okay, I got a great one.
Yeah, that's why. So there is a really awful trailer for the Monster Hunter movie that came out on YouTube.
Okay, so wait, remind me, is this a new Monster Hunter movie?
It's a new Monster Hunter movie.
Inspired by Monster Hunter World, I guess?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, what else would it be inspired by? It's got Mila Jovovich in it. I feel like we may have mentioned this once before.
I think you did
the
report
trailer.
This.
Yeah, the trailer came out in between now and then, and it's awful looking. It's like a teaser trailer, but it's close your eyes, imagine Mila Jovovich screaming at a Monster Hunter dragon monster, and that's the teaser.
Are you serious? You know what that reminds me of? I actually don't know what Mila Jovovich looks like. I forgot. But that scene that you just told me to imagine, I tried to imagine it, and immediately after I imagined it, it switched in my head to the scene where I think this happened. Yeah, freaking Game of Thrones. Was it Jon Snow, like, yells at a dragon that yells at him? Did that happen? Like, I have this scene in my where like the dragon goes like roar, and then freaking Jon Snow just goes roar right back at it. I feel like that happened.
It's a little bit like that. It's more Michael Bay Transformers. You know, and she was the star of the Resident Evil live action movies. She was the star of The Fifth Element, the woman.
That's right. Now I remember what she kind of looks like.
So she's been in a lot of these action movies. Paul W.S. Anderson, I forget which one, who's done the Resident Evil movies. They've all been very popcorn, brain-dead action films. Good enough if what you want is just an action film, but as far as what they do with the source material, I don't know. I don't know who's directing this. I didn't look into it. I would not expect any miracles.
I mean, in terms of story, there's nothing. Is there even much to expect? I mean, is there much story in Monster Hunter games in the first place?
From what I understand, the story is pretty separate between all of them. I don't think.
Yeah.
And what story does exist is usually just a thin, like,
the excuse
to hunt monsters.
Yeah, right. The excuse to hunt monsters. Yeah, basically.
Yes.
So, yeah, probably can't really expect much more than just an action film out of it.
Yes. All right, so that was my last little quick thing. What's your last story?
Okay, my last story, it's not even news. I just found this out, yo. So I still have Demon Souls on my PlayStation 3, and I'm working... I know I'm also working on a Final Fantasy VII long-ass video, but I stopped for this week, and I worked on my upcoming Demon and Dark Souls video that I'm working on. You didn't know that, but I'm working on that.
Okay.
And it's a kind of a history of how the Demon Souls thing came to be, and then a look at the art in it, kind of a thing. So look forward to that. It'll take way less time than the FF7 one. And so, like, I don't know how I found this information, but it turns out Demon Souls on PS3, the original one, still is is still online. I mean, it might as well be completely online. And you're like, well, how can that be? The servers were shut down, right? Well, yeah. Well, some dude or several people maybe, they made a private server, and you'd think, well, how well is that going to work? It seems to work perfectly fine, dude. So I'll just tell you what I did. Here it is. All you have to do... well, you're not going to memorize it from me telling you. So in case you want to go check, just search for how to play Demon Souls online. And one of the first hits will be the State of the Demon Souls private server Reddit page.
Yes.
And if you go in, and I did exactly what it says. It has 1, 2, 3. So if you go into your settings and go into the internet connection settings, and then just like you can just say you have to make it all custom. You can't just say automatic. And then for all the many different settings that you have to go through to set up an internet connection, I don't know what most of them mean. I just hit automatic. But then when I got to the one that says DNS server or whatever, don't say automatic. Say like enter it manually or custom, and just set it to 142.93.245.186. And like magic, all of a sudden, you can play Demon Souls online. And right after I did that, I loaded up Demon Souls, and it like gives you a whole bunch of little messages from like the server, the server administrator. And one of the useful messages they put up there is it shows a ranking of how popular, that is how many people are playing online in each area. Now, there's a number next to each one. I'm assuming that's the number of players, and it's totally single-digit numbers, so it's not going to be amazing. But, it said, like, freaking, as usual, the most popular place to have online multiplayer is the Shrine of Storms area. That's level 4-1. People have to PvP there. I was hoping I could just, like, join somebody as a soul and, like, go with them to the end of the freaking level. But instead, I put my soul sign down in 4-1, got summoned, and there's the person who summoned me and a red phantom already right there. And I'm looking at them, and they're not fighting each other. And I think they're trying to say, okay, go fight that red phantom. Like, this is their way of setting up a PvP kind of situation. These two are friends, and they're just hanging out, summoning people to fight the red guy. And so I fought him, and I died, and it was sort of fun.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But, dude, Demon Souls Online basically still works, yo.
That is really wild.
Yeah.
So I'm reading through the post. The one that you linked in our chat, it's 2 years ago, actually.
Yeah. But,
so this is not, like, brand new, but point being that there's still, like, new, like, stuff being done and, like, information and whatnot. So this is still, like, a very active thing.
Oh, you're right. I'm just now noticing that it says at the top of this page, attention, this post is now outdated. But
right.
In terms of...
So I looked through the current page, and you can actually still... This will work if you're emulating the game on PC as well.
Oh, wow.
Which I couldn't have told you that PS3 emulation was that solid, which now has me very curious. But nevertheless, they are claiming that this will work if you're emulating the game on PC.
That's nice.
Huh.
It says here, in this outdated one that I used, and even though it's outdated, the way to get online, though, that I just said to you, which is on this outdated post, totally worked. So that's not outdated. But it says that cross-region play is unfortunately not a possibility. But I don't know if they just updated it later or something. But I'm playing my, in Japan. But freaking, I guess it considers the region from what your account is. Because I use an American PSN account so I can shop on the American PSN store. I noticed it says the region when you log in that it's in America. And it said that I was in America. So I guess you could just make a different region if you wanted a different region and then play that region. So that's cool.
Wow. So I'm scrolling down the current page that kind of goes over like the rules of this, and this is really involved. So they're managing. You're not just like connecting to some weird pirated server that still hosts the game somehow. You are doing that, but there are people who are managing it by like when you connect to the server, you agree to the following rules. Like, you can't hack your equipment, you can't set your frame rate too high, you can't blah blah blah.
Oh, wow.
They'll ban you. So they're
to keep PvP even fair.
Yeah, they're moderating the server, and then there's also a process to manually adjust your world tendency.
Oh, whoa! No way!
Yeah. So it's really interesting. They say place one of the following messages anywhere in the Nexus, and you can drop messages down in that game. And they tell you, put a certain message down, and it'll add 200 to your black tendency. You put a different message down, it'll add 200 toward the white tendency, and you put a third one down, it'll make it neutral.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is really crazy.
Nice.
This is really, really, really well done. I mean, this remake is going to be it's going to sell very well. If this kind of passion still exists.
Yeah, insane, right? That the original Souls game is still online. That game came out in 2009, yo. So that was 11 years ago.
Over 10 years. Damn. That's half the skies of Arcadia ago.
Yeah. So I'm not as old as you, is what that means.
Yep, that's exactly what that means. All right.
Wasn't that a great story?
I think that was a very uplifting story. I think that does it for this week. You got anything else you want to say, Zoltan?
Nope, I think I got it all out of me.
All right, me too. So that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you for listening. We have this new show that comes out once a week when there is news. And then we have our regular turn-based memory show that comes out much less frequently, as well as other long-form projects that I and particularly Zoltan have in the wings, apparently.
Yeah, sorry.
Where we kind of have scripted, produced content for you to watch. Scripted being the key term. Those shows are, shows, and this is more off the cuff rather.
Yes.
So look forward to all of that. Our Turn-Based Memories channel and our Dude JRPG News channel that we broke this content out into. I believe the word now is that we will only be hosting that content there after, when is it? December
1st, starting then.
Right, so starting December 1st, this new show will be found only there. So if you're subscribed to Turn-Based Memories for the news show, you might want to subscribe to Dude JRPG News.
Yes.
And if you really don't care about the other stuff, you have my permission to unsubscribe from it. I mean,
might as well, right? Yeah.
Might as well, I guess. But that'll be for the long form stuff. It'll update much less frequently. And this new show will go there on a mostly weekly basis. So that leaves me to thank you all for listening. Thank you, Zoltan.
Thank you, everyone.
And have a good night.
Good night.